Hey guys, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about how movement method, which is a way of getting neuroplasticity, both for people visiting the gardens and also people working in the gardens, can just basically be set up for success for the brain and the nervous system. We're at a place here called Schloss Freudenberg in our hometown in Wiesbaden in Germany. You can see that this is an old stately home, and they've set the whole thing up rather like Meier Gardens as sculpture that you can interact with physically, with a lot of explanatory signs about what it does for the brain and the nervous system, and people can move through this either guided or by themselves and basically get their best neurosensory outcome. So I hope you enjoy the following video. Okay guys, here we are at Schloss Freudenberg. It is an old castle, stately home in Germany, in Wiesbaden where we live, and they've turned this place over into a sensory museum and garden for kids and adults to come and explore and build their brain and nervous system. If you just pan a little bit through this area here, you see you've got all-weather covers where people can sort of be outside but also together. Day camps, you've got these amazing big swing things. You see there's a day camp happening over there where all these logs are piled up. Over here, that's a natural climbing frame, and this is actually maintained by the city to basically help with nervous system, brain, and we're going to see some installations that are like large sculptures with some explanatory signs that sort of show a little bit the science and the inspirational side about why one should interact with these sorts of structures. And it's just a really, really wonderful resource for the entire community, whether it's for school groups, whether it's for people who are neuro diverse, or points in between. So follow me, let's go have a little look through the place. So those of you who know what we do know that we have a program called Movement Method. Look at this, how it moves. And what Movement Method does is it helps to basically build neuroplasticity. That means building the brain, basically growing yourself a new brain. And the way we do this is by moving and problem solving at the same time. If you look at the kids climbing behind here, what they're doing is they have to do what's called novel movement. They constantly have to solve a problem as they move. And this creates in the brain a protein. And this protein has a 4-letter acronym in neuroscience. It's called brain derived neurotrophic factor, BDNF. Brain derived, made by the brain, neuro, that's brain cells, trophic, like a trophy that you might get, which is an old Greek word for to grow or to get bigger. Factor, effect, BDNF. You have to know about this if you want to understand neuroplasticity. So what we do with Movement Method is we work in environments where we can ensure that we get maximum BDNF. Now, obviously, we can organize a classroom or organize a house to have these kinds of things. You can put swings in your house. You can, put a trampoline in the living room, and all of these things are very good. Let's just follow me over here. I'm going to show you a cool installation. But there are places out there where, for the public, you can use the resources really to build the brain this way. Let's have a look at this installation here. This is a rock swing, like a pendulum. You see, they've chained it up for now, but when they open it again later, this thing will swing. And if you follow me over to the little sign here that begins to explain how you can use it, you could of course sit on it, which people do, and we put our kids on it. And then you can see here, it's in German, that they're giving you a sense of how you can use the installation, both to learn some aspects of science, some aspects of how it affects your nervous system, and some inspirational sort of mythological aspects of it too. Now, if you follow me out here to the meadow, we'll just go through the wood here This, of course, is the old park of the Schloss being the old stately home or castle. Very nice that the city has given this over to people like us to be able to come and do our thing here. We're going to go out into a large clearing in a moment that overlooks the Rhine Valley, very, very beautiful. And you'll see some more installations, and we'll just talk a little bit about how we might use those. So movement method, BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor. In addition, once you get that going, you begin to feed information in. So you can begin to talk about science, you can begin to talk about history, you can then do it in a foreign language. And what you find is that both behavioral problems and learning difficulties kind of begin to go away because you get the therapy that you need. You're in this sensory environment that feels good for the nervous system. There's no bad sensory triggers here. We're going to head over this way. So the nervous system gets to calm down. If we do this in a group, we get oxytocin because we get good social interaction. This switches off the fear center of the brain, so it also switches off any stress hormone, and then you can just begin to teach because the brain is available to take in information. The learning equation is this: if you get the physical environment right and you get the human environment right, i.e. non-threatening individuals, then the brain can learn. Here's another really good installation here. And this one is designed to catch the wind. Today is a very still day. And then it makes different sounds depending on which way the wind is blowing. And it begins to introduce the idea of acoustics. You can actually see underneath here, it's very clever. They've tuned the strings like guitar strings under here. And here we have ways in which we can begin to think about interpreting the sounds or interacting with this, including how to use the scale of sound here and how music and maths and harmony come together, both inspirationally and mathematically. So this Schloss Freudenberg environment, it's just a really good classic example of what one can do with a bit of imagination to use nature, to use science and to use art all together to stimulate the learning centers of the brain. And as you saw there's a school group going on in the background here. This is used widely by the people of the city. So just as an inspiration, how can we do similar things in our gardens? How could we even set up similar things in our living room with plants and installations with our furniture or swings hung from the ceiling or whatever? If we understand this BDNF thing, brain-derived neurotrophic factor, which is neuroplasticity, the brain producing more of itself, and if we understand how the right sensory environment and the right human environment all combine together, then suddenly learning and healing at the same time become possible.